Hello and welcome back. My name is Anthony Morrissey, the CEO and founder of Sports Consultancy, AMSC. I'm here to just give you a little bit of my thoughts on some of the sports stories that's happened over the last week. First of all, Sports Consultancy, what are we? Well, we're a sports consultancy that tries to help smaller clubs and federations to grow commercially and not to be too scared of the commercial element that comes forward. So, what am I going to be talking about today? Well, we've got three stories that I'm going to be bringing you. The first one is to talk about the SuperValu Pairc naming rights that was happened in Cork, one of Cork's stadiums, one of the most famous Irish stadiums for the Gaelic games, the impact of it, and exactly how I think there's learnings that you can take from it for yourself. Second one was also in the same stadium, ironically enough, but it was when the rugby game between Munster from Ireland and the Crusaders from New Zealand played in Cork, and the impact that is going forward, and how, again, you can potentially take that for your club or federation going into it. And of course, the last one, as I got over the corner behind me, the NFL Super Bowl is coming up this week. It's not just about the game itself, it's about the whole week as a whole and what it does commercially and what it means for people. And yeah, I can hear people saying, well, it's a Super Bowl, of course, we can't take that into us. But there's definite learnings you can take from that, no matter what the size of your club, no matter what the size of your federation, that you can potentially do it. So, let's go back to the start and speak about SuperValu Pairc. So Pairc, as everybody may or may not know, is one of the most famous GAA stadiums. Opened in 1974 in Cork City. It's around 15 minutes outside the city from walking distance if you want to try to do that. But it's also a lovely little place to go and watch a game, whether that's hurling, whether that's Gaelic football, whether that's camogie, whether that's a variety of different sports that's there. And also recently some of the big concerts that have been taking place. So the Cork GAA came and looked at Pairc as a stadium naming rights and got into discussions with SuperValu, which would be a big retailer here in Ireland, and did a deal. Now, there was a lot of controversy connected to that deal, as everybody in Ireland would know, be it from our vice deputy president, our Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, who's from the constituency, and the grandson of the naming rights of the stadium, Donald O'Keefe. Pairc O'Keefe was the naming rights connected, or the name connected to the stadium, had a very, very big issue with it. Why? Because originally it was going to be called SuperValu Park and remove the O'Keefe part, which had a lot of issues for people there within the local history and the local community. So there was a lot of conversation had. Obviously, Cork GAA came back a week or two later, got it ratified by their board, and most importantly, Donald O'Keefe ratified it yesterday morning as well, making it that bit more connected into it and people more palatable and more comfortable with the naming rights. So what is it? Well, unofficially, people are saying it's worth around 2.5 million over 10 years, or 250 grand a year. Now, there's a big, when the redevelopment of the stadium was done, there's a big push on the values and the costs that are there. So this gives a little bit of chunk into that. There's other little partners that are included within that as well, but the main one obviously being SuperValu. So what's the learnings that I've taken from this? What's my opinion on this? What do I think of Pairc? Well, first of all, fair play to Cork GAA for getting this done. The ability to stick with the relationship that they obviously created with SuperValu, even though the brand link and brand connection was potentially negatively impacted by the conversation for the last couple of weeks. They did really well to do that. I'm pretty sure they've created a real good, long-standing relationship with SuperValu. Again, not just about the money part, but also the other links that they can get into and go into it. Because what you got to remember with naming rights, it's not just slapping up a name on the stadium and putting some advertisements around the place. It gives you the opportunity that they can actually do to have a long-lasting and long-living community process that was there. The other one that I really caught my interest is that it's a 10-year deal. And that is so smart to me, because what it does, what it allows you to do is build a relationship that long period of time. So from SuperValu's perspective, the first year, the first 2 years, people will still refer to it as Pairc. But what they're actually going to get as they go further down the road is that link and long-standing connection. Suddenly by year 3, by year 4, by year 5, definitely, you should see the impact of the brand getting towards there. So this isn't just about a 1-year gain. Anyone looking to rename their stadium really can't look at it as a 1, 2, 3 year contract. If you do, you're just claiming the money off a sponsor. At the end of that 3 years, the sponsor is going to ask you where the value is, and then maybe you're not going to see that, and renewing it becomes an issue. And everyone knows when the commercialization of sport, renewal is the easier one rather than try and get new customers in. The second thing that was really interesting for me from the perspective is that they looked at it as that long-term project, but SuperValu saw it as the scenario is not just about the GAA. So it's not just about the women's game or the men's game, not about the games. It's about the stadium and the link to the community that's there, keeping out some of their competitors and making sure that for 10 years, Cork GAA and Pairc, any games or any concerts connected to there is connected directly to their brand and their values. On the negative, the thing that worried me about it was that there was a lack of understanding of where their problem might come from. So when Cork GAA originally did this deal, there was no real sitting down and going, what happens if we have the name SuperValu Pairc? What's the impact going to be? The reason you say that is because it took 2 weeks of conversation that happened not just in Parliament in Dublin, but also right across the county and right across the country. And it took that a little bit of time. Also, the fact that originally Donald O'Keefe had an issue with it meant he wasn't potentially spoken to, or if he was spoken to, those ideas weren't kept with. And again, that's learning for any club out there when they're doing their stadium. What you need to do is work out what is the worst case scenario and work backwards from there when it comes to the naming rights. And then you approach your brand and you tell your brand, this is the reason why we're saying this. It's beneficial for both of us. That's a definite learning. And I think it was actually quite easy to fix. Now, congratulations to them, they went and did it. It was quite impressive to do it. What's my final take on this? Well, it's 4 parts, really. Every single club should look at it and go, there's an opportunity there. There's a real opportunity there. In the GAA in Ireland, 32 counties have the names, obviously, 32 counties. 17 have got naming rights already on them. And I guarantee you that's going to rise. It's going to rise well beyond 2025 before we hit 2025, 2026, in my opinion. So you need to get on board with that and understand what's there. The second one is that the real connection to your naming rights partner comes from your locality. So SuperValu, for example, have a real link and connection with shops all around Cork. So you need to start thinking about, when you're looking for a naming rights partner, what is it in my locality that I need to start thinking about? I've got a connection to, and where can I grow that? And that's not just in Ireland, that's around the world. It's a real obvious one where a lot of the naming rights are done by companies that have a CSR project that they would like to do, and a link not just to their brand growth around the country, around the city involved, but also for their staff to feel comfortable and confident that that's where they go, and that's the link and feeling towards it. Second one is the reasoning. You've got to understand what the reasoning of that would be. Why would you do things? Why are you doing it? Shouldn't just be for money. It should be about the long-term growth of what you're going to get there. Third one, and this is the most positive I had about Cork GAA, was that relationship piece. It keeps that relationship with that sponsor. It makes that sponsor feel part of it, which means when there's a potential for another conversation around other sponsorships and partnerships connected to Cork GAA, they can point at this one, and they can point at their name, jersey name in Sports Direct, and show the longevity that they've got with those 2 brands. That's really important for brands when they want to get involved with a club. And the fourth one, it's positive. Positive all around for Cork GAA, because it allows everybody in Cork GAA to understand there's money coming in and there's money revenues opportunities there. It allows new brands potentially to have a conversation, and SuperValu, in my opinion, have got a really, really good deal over 10 years. Right, moving on, but not moving on too far. The second one is Munster versus Crusaders in Cork. Everybody in their granny knows, as I've got the jersey behind me, I used to work for Munster Rugby for over 11 years in their commercial department. And it was a conversation that was regularly had when I worked there around potentially moving games around the province, but definitely moving games to Cork, just purely because of its size and its value and commercial rights that you could possibly get there. I get the emotive piece around Chaoimh Park more than anybody else. Amazing stadium with amazing rights, and it is the home of Munster Rugby. What's can't be underestimated, though, is the absolute attachment and connection that people of Cork, or the people of the southwest of Ireland, that includes the likes of from Waterford to Cork to into Kerry, who may find it easier potentially to go to Páirc Uí Chaoimh. The 40,000 seater sellout for a friendly game. Let's not forget, it wasn't a competitive match. It was a friendly game against Crusaders during the Six Nations. And anyone that doesn't know what the Six Nations is when Ireland play all their games. And they had a game against France the night before. So 24 hours later, after Ireland played France and were fantastic winning that game, Munster sold out this game. They had this game sold out before Christmas. Right? Again, I repeat, a friendly match against a Crusaders team that did not have any New Zealanders really playing in their squad. Future New Zealanders definitely, but not current ones. And the Munster team didn't have any other Irish internationals either. A lot of players coming through their academy, and yet still this game sold out. It's the second year that Munster have done this in SuperValu Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Got to make sure I got it right. Second year they've done this. Right? They sold them out when they played the South Africa team. Again, not the full South Africa team and not the full Munster team. There's a link and connection into it. There's a commercial connection that they made with Pinergy, who were the matchday sponsors, and then with TG Ceathair, which allowed them to broadcast this game worldwide. And the links they would have made into Canterbury and New Zealand just solidified that whole process. Yeah, Munster won the game, and I heard some of the fans saying that they're now the world champions, and that's fine. They can have that conversation. But take away the result on the field, take away the performance on the field, or what happened in the actual game. This is showing how you can actually go about and getting positive feedback around your area, around your team. And Munster, who historically have always had a bit of an issue between the Limerick-Cork divide, anyone that knows the club will understand that. They now see that there's an opportunity in both areas, and it does open up a lot more paths, not just on the field and not just an opportunity for the team to win. I did hear Graham Rowntree, their head coach, say that they're unbeaten in SuperValu Pairc, Chaoimh, so that's definitely there. But it also opens up opportunities that they have commercially with brands that potentially are in the area that level and grow. So how can you learn from that? So people will say to me, well, Munster Rugby's a massive organisation. They have a massive brand or a massive club. Of course they are. But what's stopping you as a small club and looking and investigating the opportunities outside just your city? You can already see in the NFL in America, they've moved across games to Europe. They've moved games to Germany, to London, and there's talks of moving to Brazil and Sao Paulo as well. Again, massive organization. They can afford to do that. But what's stopping you looking at, potentially having situations where you're bringing your team or your federation to where your fan base potentially could be? And that means a training session. That means having what you can organize, which would be around school trips, but not just going into schools, doing an hour of training and walking away, but making it commercially viable. Having situations where some of your players go and do training sessions in other teams. Get that link and connection, not just with your community and not just with your fans on match day, but you're growing that outside of that. That's what Munster Rugby have done. That's what the NFL does. And that's what a lot of other clubs have done around the world, where they're starting to branch out from where they're meant to be. Something to keep in mind, definitely. Like for me, the one that kind of stood out more than anything else is you move from that and then you move into a third element, which would be the Super Bowl. So I've spoken about two ones, one in Ireland, and this is obviously the Super Bowl is the behemoth of all sporting events. It is the one that everybody turns around to and says it is a sporting event to be involved in and see it. This year, it's going to take place in Las Vegas, and you're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs and their absolute dynamism of opportunities that will be there for them, with legacy issues with players such as Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Kelsey. Come back to him now in a second, versus the San Francisco 49ers, a historic brand who have been successful in Super Bowls over the years. And over my childhood, I've had to watch the 49ers win quite a few Super Bowls with some sensational players like Jerry Rice, etc. But from a commercial side, I find the Super Bowl fascinating. So it is the most behemoth event of all time. But why is it that way? What is it that links and connects it in? Well, first of all, in 2023, when the Super Bowl was in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, there was 1 million people were involved in the whole process around 2023. 68,000 of them were in the stadium. 150,000 people were passing through Arizona when that Super Bowl week is on. So Super Bowl isn't just about the game. It's not just about the Sunday, the game, the match on. It's all that week. It's Super Bowl week. And they pretty much take over the city and they take over everything to do it and connecting to it. First one that's going to be interesting from a commercial side, just for a little bit of fun. Taylor Swift. Everyone knows what Taylor Swift is. Taylor Swift is obviously a partner of one of the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce. And what they worked out, according to Quartz, her presence at Kansas City games in the last 2 or 3 months has generated $331.5 million for the Kansas City Chief. Now, let's not underline this. She's been on screen a couple of seconds every single game, and she's there to support her partner, like any other player's partner should be. She should have every right to do that, and there's no problem for me whatsoever her doing that. But it shows the value that she has to do that for Kansas City Chiefs, and she's not even doing anything. It's brilliant. It's fantastically interesting to watch and shows the power of people within sports marketing now. I hope she enjoys the Super Bowl. Fantastic. Never have anything slagging about Taylor Swift. I think it's a brilliant thing for NFL. She's obviously just there to support her partner. Just going on the actual values and commercialization part for Super Bowl that connects it. And again, it's just an interesting topic for me. Ticket prices start at $1,000. Good luck getting those tickets, by the way, and finish up at around $8,500. But if you want corporate tickets, you're looking at around 60 grand just to get a box or not even a box, get access into hospitality for it, because it's that valued. It's that most important. You've got 7 million is the 30-second for a commercial on the commercial rights. 7 million, according to Forbes. That's 233,000 a second. So 30-second advertisement, 7 million, 233 grand. There must be revenue connected into that, or else why would they do it? It's worth, the game itself is worth millions, nearly billions to the local economy, to the economy of the NFL, and right across the board. Because what they do during the week isn't just about the game. They do training sessions, they do meet and greets, they do Pro Bowls, they do loads of different things down in the city centre to get people in there and get people part of the event. And that's what it's all about. It's about being part of the event. So what can you learn? The learnings for anything, and again, I hear people say it's the Super Bowl, it's a massive thing. The learnings are 100% there for you, that you need to look at your sporting game as an event. What can I do the day before one of our big games? What can I do the morning before one of our games? What do our fans want? Is there podcasts we can do where it's promoting the game the week before? Is there interviews that we can do? Is there ways of getting kids involved? Is there ways of getting your sponsors involved that they feel part of this big week? And what do I mean by that? That's anything from a schools game that could be involved. You've got want to get sponsors there, right up to your professional sport. And you're looking at a big game on the Saturday or Sunday. Well, why not do an event on the Wednesday night and Thursday night to promote that? It doesn't have to be the Super Bowl. You don't have to spend those millions of revenues to do so. You can look at it and make sure it sits within your marketing budget and make your sponsors happy. Make your sponsors feel part of it. Make your sponsors be involved. Get your supporters involved, and suddenly you link those two things together. Anyway, that's just my quick take on the 5th of February. Just to see a take of what everyone thinks, what's going on, my feelings around sport, commercialization part, my feelings towards what's going on this week. Let me know in the chat below if you think any different. Make sure if you want to learn more about what I can do to help you guys out potentially in whether you're a club or federation and help you grow itself, don't hesitate to give me a shout. Anthony.Morrissey@amsc.ie. All the details are listed below. And as always, thanks very much for your time. Look after yourselves. Take care. See you later.